Hi there everyone, welcome back to the Purple House session today. Normally Peter is by my side, but he is otherwise occupied, so today it's just me. And today I want to talk again about diets. Actually, first of all I want to talk about women, because our clients consist mostly of women, believe it or not. The statistics show that in the Western world, in the developed countries as we call it, women outlive men by as much as 8 years. So women tend to live 8 years longer than men. Having said that though, when women go to the doctor with their problems, I'll just read this out because these are statistics. Women are twice as likely to say that their concerns aren't heard by doctors, by the medical support team. And also, much more research has been done into men's health than women's health, which is also really, really interesting, because when you think about, well, where's all that research gone then? You know, like it's not really helping the men if they still die 8 years younger than the average woman in the rich countries. So I want to talk a little bit about women's health in particular, even though it's quite difficult for me at the moment I have to be really, really careful what I say. So if you want more information, please do come and see Peter in our rooms, and we can give you personalized information that will really boost you boost your health, right? Because Peter and I, we have been scrutinized by the TGA, which is the Australian arm of Big Pharma. So today I want to talk about how you can help yourself as a woman and better your health. And last week we talked about how all humans need animal fat to keep their brains healthy, and not just your brain, but every cell in your body, because there are nutrients in animal fat that you don't get from any other fats. And so human beings, we are basically a walking bag of fat, because what we are is like trillions and trillions of cells put together, and all these cells have a membrane that consists of a fat, and the fat is similar to animal fats. So humans actually have really big trouble digesting plant food, right? And if you want to do more research on that, I'll post the links to some really good books. So I've been reading this book, Toxic Superfoods, and how plants are really, really hard to digest for humans. And then lies, this is Lies My Doctor Told Me, which is actually written by a medical doctor, a really, really good read as well. And then last week I shared with you the vegetarian myth. So this book was written by a lady who started off as a vegan. I think she was a vegan for 30 years. And then she had to reluctantly convert to a carnivore diet, which is mostly meat, or I think she turned to carnivore, not even keto, because basically her body was destroyed by plant food. So she had done a lot of research into it. So I'll just show you. Behind me is a sample of my blood, and I'm ashamed to say it's looking a little bit sticky. So for today, I'll see if I can show you. So this is my blood cells. I'm feeling a bit naked and exposed today. So as you can see, every red cell has a white looking membrane, and the white shows up because that's a fatty membrane, nothing else. So thankfully my cells are looking nice and round, so that's good, but they're too sticky, they're sticking together because I'm dehydrated, I haven't had enough water today. These are my white blood cells. This is a white blood cell, there's another one. And even inside the white blood cells you see, I don't know why my phone is doing that now, you see little white specks, and they also consist of fats. So I thought you might find it interesting rather than just me talking about it, because that's just one little drop of blood that I took from my finger to show you what our blood looks like. And sometimes, by the way, my blood looks a little bit compromised because I've got titanium plates and screws in my right hip and lower back. And of course that changes something about the electrical current in my body, but I'm also an energy healer, so I can heal myself with energy and stay very, very healthy. But this morning I've been very busy and I forgot to drink enough water, and so you're looking at sticky blood there that Peter is always talking about. But I just want you to know that our brains need a lot of fats, and animal fats are the best fat for humanity. And so many years ago, when humans were supposed to be hunter-gatherers, this is another really fascinating fact. So archaeologists can tell from that the hunter-gatherer skeletons were very, very strong and healthy. They all had healthy teeth. There weren't any signs of arthritis or parasites or modern day diseases. And not only that, the skeletons were much taller than when humans started to become farmers, like started to grow crops. And when the hunter-gatherers lived in their communities, they only apparently had to work 17 or 18 hours per week for their food. Whereas when people turned to agricultural and growing crops for their food, people had to start working 7 days a week, often 10 to 15 hours a day. So all this triggers a lot of thought into me. So we need to learn from our history in order to restore planet Earth and to restore our own bodies. So I'm passionate about health. I'm also passionate about, of course, restoring planet Earth. And basically what the research that I've done shows is that when we get our food from inside our community, like if we grow our animals and we nurture them and connect with them, and then we kill them in a pain-free way so they don't even know what's happening to them and they just pass over, we can eat that meat, and the meat fats are even the most important for our bodies. And then there is no wastage with like flying around the world and all the rest. And even the connection that we have with animals deepens the connection and the respect that we have for nature and for our own self, because we need to be mindful of what we eat, and that's important as well. So red meat from cows and sheep is really, really the most beneficial food, because when you think of those animals, they have 3 stomachs. So they eat the grass, they eat all the greens that we can't digest easily, and then it goes into one stomach, into the next stomach, and into the 3rd stomach before it's finally released into their gut and into the tissue. So I want you to start thinking of meat as fortified vegetable matter. So years ago, a woman came to us with polycystic ovarian syndrome. She was overweight, and she also, of course, well, that goes along with not being able to fall pregnant. I want you to know, by the way, that Peter and I, that there are many, many children walking around, and adults now as well, of people who suffered from infertility and they were able to have a child not long after they came to see us. That's all I will say to you, to inspire you, okay? So I can't go into any details. If you have any problems like that, please do come and see us. This particular lady, I can just tell you that she started to go on a carnivore diet, and she ate a lot of fat, because we said that fats are just as important. The sicker you are, the more acute your problems are, the more fat you need, the more animal fat you need. So she she ate a carnivore diet, and then her hormones were still not kicking in properly, and then we suggested that she focus more on the meat fats as well. So she ended up having 50% of her diet was meat fat, and the others, was normal meat. And we weren't talking about expensive meat either. And she lost lots and lots of weight, her hormones kicked in, and she's got 4 children now. So plus they're all living very healthy, they're all bright, healthy and happy, and her husband did the same. So as a family they did the same thing. So how can you get healthy fats into your body? So healthy fats are light, dripping meat fat from your chops. Bone broth has a lot of fat. Butter is really good as well. So again, as a rule of the thumb, the more challenged you are health-wise, the more fats you need to give to your body. Because look at me again, everything that's white on this screen is actually saturated fats, which is like meat fats. So if you are starving yourself of fats, your cell membranes are going to be like a balloon that's like, well, you know, like this or something, you know, not nice and round. It starts to, your cells lose their shape and your body can't release oxygen and nutrients, the traffic, you know, it's all very hard to transport everything around your body, and you're going to lack energy, you're just going to feel miserable. So when it comes to fats, if you struggle with eating fats, what you can do is like chop your butter up into little pieces, like tiny little pieces, so they look like pieces of cheese, and put them in the freezer, and then you can suck on those little pieces of butter all day long. So the thing is, you should never have to feel hungry, because fats are very satisfying and they're a very clean source of fuel for your body. So if you've ever driven behind a car that's like billowing out a lot of black smoke, right? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, especially old cars or old trucks, and it's all the black smoke is coming out of the exhaust, and you know, you're behind it and you're gagging. Well, that is what sugar and carbohydrate are like for your body. So it's a very messy fuel. It leaves a lot of toxins around that your body has to get rid of. And when you think about your food should be able to give you energy, right? That's why we eat food. That's why the whole reason why we eat food, so we get uplifted from it, we have energy, we feel great. Whereas in today's world, a lot of our food has the opposite effect. It makes us feel tired, it drains our energy literally goes down the gurgler, and on top of that, our body has to then clean up all the soot and rubbish that's left behind, which clogs our arteries, and it just makes it hard for us to function. So you need to think of meat and meat fat as a really clean source of fuel, and packed nutrition, it's full of nutrients. So I know that there is a lot of controversy around it, and so you don't have to, of course, believe anything that I say. This is just what Pete and I have seen over the years when we worked with clients, and even my own little grandson, who is 13 at the moment, we kept him alive on a carnivore diet for many years, because Elijah, he was born with acute autoimmune disorders right from birth already. Basically, he was allergic to the cold, allergic to everything. Like the cold would put him into anaphylactic shock. He would get rashes all over his body. He nearly had anaphylactic shock every day. And then when he was 5, he also started to go blind. And his knees were already massively deformed. It was just a terrible journey, terrible for me as a grandmother to watch. And even with me giving him healing sessions, and he was on a very strict diet already when he was 5 and he started to go blind. We did more acute research and we ended up with the only foods that were safe for him, which was meat fat, water and salt. And that's all he had. And we had to be really strict with him, because if we weren't, he would have gone blind. So he didn't like eating meat, of course, because he was a carb lover. Because who doesn't love carbohydrates? Like, everyone loves carbohydrates. They're the tasty foods. But in the long run, they kill us, because our body actually has no essential need for carbohydrates at all. They're not necessary for our body to thrive. So anyway, Elijah's eyes improved after 3 months. He wasn't going blind anymore, and after 6 months, all his scar tissue was gone, so his eyeballs were fully restored. And actually, the truth of the matter is that we have completely new eyeballs every 48 hours, and every part of our body gets restored non-stop. But if you don't heal properly, then you have to look at your fuel intake. What are you putting in your body? Is it helping you? Is it helping you to regenerate, or is it slowing down the regeneration process? And are you getting old before your time? So that's really what I wanted to talk about to you. So my blood's still looking pretty good. So Pete and I, we've looked at people's blood now since the year 2009. So that's actually 14 years already on a daily basis. So we've seen everything. We've seen so and so many things in people's blood. And one way you can also check in on people's inner health is by observing the blood for a few hours afterwards. So the client's already gone home, and sometimes we keep looking at it to see how fast it degenerates. And if you see the blood cells dying in front of your eyes, you know that their body, of course, is really, really struggling, right? That makes sense, because you were basically just an island of cells. So if the blood stays alive and looking good for many hours afterwards, that means that your immune system and your body is in great shape. So if you want to eat vegetables, the best way to eat vegetables is by fermenting them. So you eat fermented vegetables, and that way all the frothing and bubbling that normally happens in your stomach has been done outside of your body, because that's already happened in the fermenting process when the vegetables were, you know, put in a fermenting vat, and then you let the bacteria, the helpful bacteria, do the work. So your body actually doesn't have to do that anymore. And then when you eat those vegetables, they're teeming with life, and they support your body to feel alive as well. So they're already, or I guess you could say they digested, they pre-digested. That energy is available to your body, and of course the good bacteria in it boost your immune system, which is in the gut, and supplies your body with really, really good beneficial bacteria and enzymes as well. And fermented foods apparently also help your body get rid of toxins like mercury and all the rest that's in our environment. So sometimes people will say to me, but Grada, I heard that when I eat a piece of steak, it makes me acid. So you always, I mean, I've heard it more times than I wish to ever hear. People always say meat makes you acid, but that's actually a myth. Meat doesn't make you acid. If you run or like jog down the road for 20 minutes, that is the same, that provides your body with the same acidity levels as if you ate meat non-stop for a whole week. So that's a myth, that's not true. Meat doesn't make you acid, meat doesn't constipate you, and meat doesn't give you cancer. You need to start thinking of meat as like nutrient-dense food. And again, like I said, the sicker you are, the more challenged you are in your health, the more you need to look at that with fresh eyes. Last week I also told you that to produce one plateful of meat, you kill one animal, right? And to produce a plate full of vegan food, the research tells us that 10 animals have died for that. And we're talking about rodents, wildlife, birds, and it's eroding our topsoil as well. So it's not the way forward. So it sounds very, very controversial. But again, I want you to look at the real science, not the superficial science that that's given to you on a plate. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to say for today. So if you're looking at, you know, getting some real answers, or want to look under the bonnet of your car, so to speak, please book in for a session with Pete or me, and we can share a lot more helpful information to you and keep it personalized. There's literally nothing that we haven't seen over the years, so all your problems and health issues are welcome with us. And let me know what you think of this. I'm really, really keen to hear your honest opinion on concerns, of course, or if you're confused, it doesn't matter. Put it in a personal message or put it in a message underneath the video. I'll put in the links of this book. Also join our mailing list. I'll put in a link for that as well. Please do go on our mailing list. Pete and I will send out really interesting information, and there is more good stuff to come. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you found this helpful. Let me know what you think, and I'm looking forward to being with you next week. Bye for now.